Thank you, President Powers, for that wonderful introduction and for giving me this opportunity and honor to give the commencement speech. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished faculty, family, friends, and of course you, my fellow UT graduates of 2009. It actually given me an honorary degree about 9 years ago, and it just didn't sit well with me. I wanted the real thing like you people have, and I wanted to be here and get a real degree because, let's just face it, it's not real until it's real. And what you did is real. Of course, I took the 20-year scenic route. Saw a lot of weird things, but it's good to be back. Take lots of pictures. It's the last time you'll see me in a cowboy hat and an evening gown. I grew up in San Antonio from a family of 10 kids. Education meant everything to my parents. That's all they ever talked about. Not contraception, education. But seriously, of any accomplishment I have gotten or ever will have gotten, my parents are most proud that I'm graduating. And my parents are here tonight, so are my children, my friends, my family, along with your family and everyone that's here, proud of you. So let's all thank our families and our supporters for encouraging us to seek out excellence. Give them a big hand. I know you're all tired and restless and getting rained on, ready to get the hell out of here, so I'll keep this brief. But I also promise to make this worth your while. You're about to enter the worst job market in 25 years. And you're probably wondering how you're going to do that. I'm going to tell you. I'll give you the answer. I don't know. I really don't. And neither does anybody, but that's a good thing. That actually could be the very best thing. Of course, I'll have to explain that. You've heard that knowing is half the battle. What's the other half? Not knowing. In my personal experience, I can tell you without a doubt that not knowing is just as important, if not more important, because you do not know yet what can't be done. You don't know what can't be done. And when you get out there, there's going to be a lot of people who tell you, oh, you're doing that all wrong, or you don't know what you're doing, or they're wrong. There's something about not knowing that gives you an advantage, and you're young enough, and you're smart enough, and you've got gut instincts, and it hasn't been beaten into you yet. I'm going to give you an example from my first movie of how that worked for me. I made that while I was still here a student at UT. I didn't know that it wasn't possible to go make a movie for such a low budget with no film crew. It just wasn't being done at that time. This was 1991. It was just completely unheard of. Didn't mean that it was impossible, it just mean no one had ever bothered to try it before. And that's how things are done. How did I figure it out? I'm from a big family. I can't waste money. It's against my genetic makeup. So I had to substitute money with creativity, and that's what made all the difference. So I had to make a movie in a way that broke the traditional mold and learn not to be a slave to tradition. Traditional thinking will hold you back. And after that movie won Sundance, that's when other people realized it could be done and they were able to follow and do the same. It seems very common now, people do that now, but back then it wasn't. But I had to be willing to ignore the rule book. You can't make a mistake if there's no rules, and if there are imposed rules, break them. Those rules were made yesterday and the tide's already shifted today. So be ready and willing to break rules, make your own rules and break those too. Be ready and willing to fail. Failure is good. It means that you're seeking new ideas. Winston Churchill said that success is the ability to move from one failure to the next failure with enthusiasm. So yeah, get happy about falling on your face. Then turn that perceived failure into success. Now you may have heard several rumors, stories about how I ultimately financed Del Mariachi, all of which are not completely true. It was much worse than that. Since you're old enough now and graduating, I'll go ahead and fill you in some of the details of the horrors. Maybe that'll shock you into not wanting to take those jobs so that you can go do something else. and not be a human rat like I did. Pursue your dreams. They wanted to test the new speed healer drug on me in exchange for $2,000. That's money that in my mind I had already spent on lights and camera and film stock. So how do they test an experimental speed healer drug on you? They wound you! Punch biopsies in the back of my arms. Speed healer on one side, placebo on the other. Then after several days, they go gouge out the rest of that section, sew you back up. Bad stitching job, by the way. Send you off with your cash. You learn a lot from that. What I learned was that I never wanted to do anything like that ever again. But it was a creative solution at the time on how to make my movie. But you see, there are no mistakes. You learn from everything. Was it a risk to put my arms in the meat grinder? Okay, it was. But it happened to pay off, big time. And that money allowed me to realize a dream. So you have to take risks. That will be your advantage. You're young, you're risky, be innovative, think on your feet. I'm going to give you a tip. How much did you get away with while you were here in the university? Simply by saying, well, I'm a student, I'm free to make mistakes, take the risk, try new things. How many times did you use that as an excuse? Keep using it. Because if there's one thing I can tell you with all certainty is that you will never know it all. You will always be learning. We have to continue to be students of life and students for life. I didn't avoid getting my degree for 20 years just out of laziness. Okay, that was partly it. But I did it because I knew it was important to keep this mindset that my education would never be done, that I was in this to be a student for life. Technically, I'm a writer-director. People wonder why I also do other jobs, such as why am I the editor, the cinematographer, the composer, the producer, the caterer? Well, it's job security, isn't it? In today's world, you really do have to know more than one thing. So a key thought I want to pass on to you is to continue learning new skills. It's a crazy world out there right now. There really is no surety. There's going to be no comfort zone. And something that has helped me tremendously is to surround myself with mentors. This is something you've already learned. You got to take it out there in the world with you. These are friends who are masters at what they do, who challenge me and push me towards excellence. Masters in photography and painting, music, filmmaking, Texas barbecue, you name it. I just have them teach me things all the time. And that's what you need to do, is surround yourself with people who are better than you. That's going to define who you become. You've always heard, be careful who you choose as your peer group. Now, that meant one thing up until now, but it's going to